Hey guys, it's Kevin again, and this is going to be my review for the season of Togetherness, the HBO show that I reviewed the first episode of, and I really enjoyed it, so I continued to watch the show as it went on, and because I wasn't reviewing the show individually, now I'm going to be reviewing the entire first season of the show, talk about what I thought of all the plots, the twists, the finale in general, where I think we're headed in season 2, because the show was renewed for season 2, which I'm very happy about, and let's just get into it. First of all, let me give you my overall thoughts in the first season. Overall, for a first season, this was amazing, I have to say. So many things I loved about the show. After that pilot, I very quickly fell in love with the show. I really did. I will say the pilot, I didn't fall in love with it. I think after episode 2, I was hooked. After episode 2, I was in love with the show, and it really maintained that feel of the pilot since feel of the first episode till the end. There was only one episode that was really just okay, and that was episode 6. Other than that, I really enjoyed the show. Now, let me get into some of the season arcs, our main season arcs here, and I'm going to talk about what really worked in the show, things I really liked, and things like that. Now, first I want to talk about the tone of this overall show. One of the things I loved here. One of the things I think the show did very well was the tone of it and the way that the show was constructed, because the show is not about just this family. It's about life and how things happen in our lives. And I'm going to talk about our main two story arcs. So let's first talk about Brett and Michelle. If you guys remember my first episode, I told in my review of the first episode, I told you that those two were having a lot of sexual problems and they weren't able to have sex and everything. Well, it eventually really damaged their relationship. I mean, for a while you could see that they just did not want to have sex, and it wasn't so much that they're just not into sex anymore, it's that they're not into each other anymore. And I have to say, I really like the way they handled their relationship. Brett and Michelle are very flawed characters as the show goes on. We see that Brett is a very emotional guy. He's very happy at times, but he's very much, I wouldn't say he's a man-child, but he's definitely more happy and fun than Michelle is. Michelle is much more strict and very serious at points. We don't really see her have a lot of fun. It's because I don't think that it's because they don't love each other. I think they're just not right for each other, and I think they've just come to that point in their relationship where they're just not right for each other, and it's affecting their overall well-being. So eventually what ends up happening is that they just get tired of each other, and one of the things I like is just that recurring thing going on. I mean, for a while it's just they're trying to have sex and it's not working. Eventually they realize that they're just not good for each other. So they end up actually growing apart a little bit. Michelle goes to this guy David, who David is this guy who actually makes her very, very strong, I'd have to say. In fact, one of the things that I really liked about David's character is that we actually see Michelle actually be a fun person, because he makes her very strong and sort of like a superhero, because she's trying to save this school and everything, and I really love that with her character. I think they did a very good job with that relationship overall. While Brett goes to this girl played by Mary Steenburgen. Now, at first I didn't really like her, but the thing that I like about their overall relationship, I didn't really care about her character, but the thing I liked about their overall bonding is that she brought the fun out in him, because he really lost that. One of the things that I think the show did very well was show that. I mean, he really was not having fun when he was around his wife. He didn't get to have fun. I mean, there's this scene in episode 2 where she basically forces him to have sex. It's a very funny scene, but at the same time, it's like you can just see that he's not enjoying it. He's not enjoying having sex with his wife, and one of the things that I do love is that it takes them a little while to figure out that they have these problems. And in last week's episode, episode 7, that is when they realize that, hey, we need to talk about this and figure out what we need to do here. That conversation does not happen this season. Now, the reason I think that does not happen is because they can't talk to each other right now. They're not in a good place right now, because they both feel they're making bad decisions, and there are things that you get worried about, definitely, between those two. For Michelle, you're worried that there's going to be adultery. There is a scene at the end of the season finale where you're worried that she is going to cheat on Brett, and that something bad is going to happen between the two of them. And I'm very worried. I'm worried for Brett, really, because I cared about Brett's character, and that's one of the things I love about this show, is the more the show went on, the more you cared for the characters. I have to say that's something I definitely really enjoyed. Because when the show first started, I initially just thought of Brett's and Michelle's storyline as a fun one. I really didn't see the darkness of it. But really, one of the things I realized about the show is that this is a real show. The show is real. real, and it really depicts what would happen if this happened to a couple. I mean, it just, you can see they're not into each other anymore, and that happens to couples. Sometimes they just grow apart, but they're not really facing the real issues here. They're not actually having a conversation about what's going on in their life, and they're not having that conversation that they need to have, because I just feel like it's too much for them. They don't want to have that conversation. Why they don't want to have the conversation, I don't know, but they don't want to have that conversation, and it's really, really sad to see, but they just don't want to have that conversation. And as much as, as sad as it is, I mean, that's just life. They don't want to move forward and figure out the real problem of their relationship, so they start to drift apart, as I said. And you get really worried. But for Brett, you get very happy about, because Brett in the season finale ends up having basically the best days had in a while. And the one thing that I love is that the person that makes him happy is his daughter. His daughter Stacy, who is a very young, who is, this little girl who's in pre-K, makes him happy. And it just shows that Brett is a really good guy. And I have to say, one of the best scenes with Brett is last week when he's drunk, because it just makes him happy. He's just a fun guy. He wants to have a good time, and he doesn't get to do that when he's with Michelle, because Michelle's so uptight. They're not right for each other. But when Michelle's with David, she's such a different person. She's so much more fun. He brings out this very good, she has these leadership qualities. Like, one of the things I like is that they're good people. They're not bad people by any means. They're just flawed. And that's life. You're never going to meet a perfect person. And I like that this show depicts that very well. That's something I think they did a very good job of showing. I mean, they're both good people. They're not bad. Michelle has leadership qualities. Michelle is very vocal with the way she talks, and it's a good thing. In fact, that's what David is, like, moved by her, by that. He really enjoys that, and he really brings that out in her, definitely. I mean, when she's with him, she has this newfound confidence, and it's amazing. With Brett, when he is not with Michelle, and he's with Alex or Stacy, which I'll get to Alex in a second, but when he's with Alex or Stacy, he has this he's so funny, just a fun guy. And even when he's with Michelle, he's a fun guy. It just doesn't work between the two of them. And I have to say, one of the things I love the most about the show is the friendship between Alex and Brett. That is a friendship that is going to last a lifetime. I mean, there is this one scene where they are in a car and they're just talking, and this drum solo comes on to a song by Rush called Tom Sawyer, and they just start bursting out and just drumming along to it. It's awesome to watch. It's hilarious to watch, and they did a very good job with doing that. Their friendship seems real, and you care about their friendship. You do. I cared about their friendship, and I think they did a very good job with getting us to care about their friendship, because I did overall. I think they had a very good friendship, and I really did care about them, and it's something that definitely is going to last. It's something I definitely enjoyed. And they are very fun to watch together. They're both very fun guys, and you like seeing them bond. That's one of the things I like about the show, is that you like seeing them bonding, and that's something that I want to see, and that's something that I enjoyed seeing these two guys bonding. So that's really what ends up happening for Brett and Michelle. And when we get to the finale, they don't, as I said, they don't have a conversation. Their family's kind of been broken. I mean, the finale was called Not So Together, because they're not exactly together anymore. Togetherness is not just we're a family, we're together. Togetherness is how they feel. They don't feel together. They feel separated because they just have different interests, and their lives are going in such different directions. Brett, it doesn't really have much of a direction in his life, but he doesn't really care because he's just having fun. And I think Stacy really brought that fun out of him. Stacy, his daughter brings up this idea of going to the beach and skipping a day of pre-K, which he first thinks is a terrible thing. And Michelle made him strict. She made him this strict person, and he's not that. Brett's not strict like Michelle is. And one of the things I like that this show does is that they try to, Brett tries to change himself to be with Michelle. But what Stacy teaches him is that I don't need to be that way. If I'm not with Michelle, then fuck it. I'm not that way. I'm not a strict person. I want to have fun in my life, then I'm not going to be that way. So his daughter brings out that in him, and it was awesome to see. And seeing him on that beach just having fun with his daughter, you just get this real smile on your face. You get a sense of how happy he is. It's one of the happiest days he's had in a while, and you just feel so happy for him. With all the shit he's been through with Michelle and all of that, and then the whole thing with their fights, all those fights they had, and that whole conversation they had, all the seriousness, it was just fun to see Brett having a good time. That's something I definitely liked seeing, and I really enjoyed seeing that. I think they did a very good job with showing that in the finale. Absolutely loved that. So that was basically their plot. We really don't get much of a closing there because there is a cliffhanger. But one of the things I do like is that it's nothing too big, except you do see that Michelle and David are definitely going to get closer because David sends her this little note telling her, she's in one room in a hotel, he's in the other room, and they're sending each other these little notes about how awesome they both were and how, he feels that she did an awesome job in the presentation and everything and how she wowed everyone. And I mean, she does do a very good job with this school and everything, and people listen to her, and she ends up getting the school its budget and everything, and it was awesome to see, and I love seeing that, and I thought they did a very good job of showing that, definitely. So, there definitely is a sense that Michelle is going to cheat on Brett, which I definitely think she's going to, but if she does, I mean, you can understand why. She just isn't happy with Brett anymore. And if she did, I don't really feel Brett would care because he doesn't really seem. I don't think it's not that he doesn't care about her more than he just doesn't really fit with her and doesn't really care what she does. I really feel like that's what's going on there. Now, the other plot we get this season has to do with Tina and Alex. Now, Alex and Tina, I really liked their characters from the start. Alex, of course, as I said, was a struggling actor. He is Brett's best friend, of course. He moves in, and Tina really tries to get him to become a better actor. Now, at first, he really doesn't want to do this. He doesn't want to go into acting and everything. He's very hesitant about doing it. And I love that she bribed him into doing things. Like, she shows him her tits and everything just to get him to get him into acting, and it was very funny to see. I loved how motivational she was towards him. But you do definitely see romantic tension between the two. You definitely could see that these two had a very good bond. But I liked it for this season. It was just a friendship. I definitely really enjoyed that. Because what ends up happening is that Tina ends up with this guy, Larry, who at first she really did not know what to do with because she does have feelings for Alex. And I mean, that can happen to someone. She gets torn between Alex and Larry. And eventually she chooses Larry because she likes him and she wants to go into a relationship with him, and she's leaving. But you see also how broken and out of touch this family is now, because the beginning of the episode is her goodbye speech. There's no goodbye speech. There's no hugs. There's no kisses. There's no anything. There's no goodbyes from the family. She just leaves. It just shows how out of touch the family is right now. And it's not that they're not a family. They are a family. They're just not very close now just because of recent events that have been happening. And as far as Alex goes, Alex and Tina's friendship was so funny to watch at points. Eventually, though, Alex doesn't trust Tina because Tina ends up screwing him over when she ends up telling the casting director of this really terrible thing that happened to Alex and everything. And I was just like, Tina, how could you do that? But then I thought, you know what, Tina and Alex, they're not exactly going to, because at first I thought they were trying to depict these two as romantic lovers. That's what I thought was going to happen, is that these two were going to get together. But that's not what ends up happening, because Alex does get, that's one of the reasons I didn't like episode 6, because they just got upset and all this drama happened, and that's that really my only complaint in this season is episode 6, but I'll get to that. I'll get to why I didn't like episode 6 very much, but basically what ends up happening there is that Alex does end up getting an audition for a very good part, and it was really, and he was upset with Tina because she gave, no, not because it's a small event, it was because she gave him a very small part in something, and she told the casting director to give him anything, and all it was with this small little part, and he was really upset with her because he wanted a bigger role, and he told her specifically to tell the casting director to give him a bigger role. One of the things I like that Tina convinces him is that he should just accept roles that he has. I understand that. And she really does motivate him, definitely. I definitely really liked their overall bonding. I thought it was a lot of fun to watch, and it was very funny at times as well, definitely. It had some very funny scenes together. Just the things that she did to get him to be more confident was hilarious to watch, and I think that Amanda Peet did a very good job with her role. She was very funny. And she got funnier and funnier as the show went on, I have to say. Definitely, the characters, that's something I definitely have to say. The chemistry between the characters got better and better as the show went on. So, of course, Alex gets this role. He really wants Tina to be a part of it, and I love that he didn't tell, I thought he was going to tell Tina that he loved her, but that's not what he tells her. He tells Tina that he's happy that he got this role, and thanks her for making him more confident, and thanks her for what she did in his life and helping him with this, because this was something that he really wanted. He wanted this role. He wanted to, have a big part in this role, and Tina really was the person that did that for him. So I like that he told her straight out that I'm happy you did that. And Alex and him have a very fun time together. Alex and Brett have a very fun time together. And Brett's not going to see Alex for a while because Alex is now doing this major part in this movie. And you're really happy for Alex because this is what Alex has wanted all season. For Alex, it's ending very happy for him. That's just because Alex has really wanted this and you feel very happy for him. And again, just like Brett, he's very happy. And just that whole friendship is perfect to watch. And I was very happy for Brett as well. So those are the two main arcs we get this season. Now let me talk about the only problem with this season, which is episode 6. Episode 6 had all this unnecessary drama that wasn't needed. It felt like they were just adding drama to add drama. Mary Steenburgen's character was introduced, and she was very uninteresting and boring. David, just the way they introduced those storylines, I did not like it whatsoever. I thought it was just a boring episode. That was just an off episode. But the other thing I have to say about the show is that this is a show where if they do a filler episode, it honestly is very good. You don't need to have a big plot in the show for it to be good because the cast just works so well here. I have to say, the acting, everyone just got more and more comfortable with their roles as the show went on. There were only 8 episodes. It was great from the start, but just after episode 3, it got amazing. They got better and better. The relationships got better. The dynamic got better. There's one of the best episodes of the season isn't even it's a filler episode. It's an episode about them playing it's an episode about it's an episode called Kick the Ball or something where I don't remember what it was exactly, but it was just a fun episode and it works very well with the show because it's a family and it's about a family. It's about how a family lives and just how close they stay as a family. And for a show like this, yeah, you can have some filler episodes. I have to say this too, guys. I was into Togetherness more than I ever was into Girls. And I have to say, the season of Girls has been very good. I'll review Girls when the season ends. That's in 2 weeks, but whatever. Whenever that ends, I will review it. But I was into this definitely more than Girls, and I think the thing that works better with this show is that people can relate to it more. Girls is kind of just unrelatable, and the characters aren't as interesting, but this show, that's not the case with this show. This show, a lot more people can relate to, because we all have those families that you feel close to, and then sometimes you don't feel close to them, and you have daily problems go on in your lives, and one of the things I love about the season finale is that nothing too big happens. It's just things you're anticipating. It's things that are being set up because that's where their life is going. That's where the direction of their life, that's where it's taking them. And that's one of the things I definitely loved about the season finale. And a lot of people said that it was kind of disappointing, but to me, it was like life. And I have to say the directing and the writing to the show is just like life. Some of these conversations, it doesn't feel scripted. It just feels like real conversations. And there are points in the show where not that many big things happen. In fact, the one episode I mentioned, nothing big happens. Nothing that really moves the storyline happens. But it's like life. Not everything in life matters. Not everything in life matters. Not every day in life you're going to have some big event in your life happen. And I think the show depicted that very well. That's something I didn't know the show was going to do, and I was very happy the show did that because I didn't know they were going to initially do that. So when they did do that, I was very happy that they did, because I think that is awesome that the show did that. Another thing that the show got better and better with was its score. The score was so good at this show. Some of the songs were so great to listen to, and that's another thing I have to applaud. The humor. The show got funnier and funnier as it went on. So many funny scenes in the show. The funniest scene by far has to be Brett drunk. Oh my god. You have not... If you guys want to see anything at Togetherness, please just go on HBO Go. Go to episode 7 where Brett's drunk. It is absolutely hilarious because he is completely drunk, so he says anything that comes out of his mouth. It's hilarious to watch, and just you have not lived till you have seen Brett drunk. Oh my god. Mark Duplass in that scene was killing it. And I think, as I said, the acting got better and better as it went on. That's really what worked the best in this season. Now, where do I think we're headed next season? Basically, how it's been this season. I mean, Michelle's going to be with David. Brett's going to be in a very happy place, and Michelle and Brett are definitely going to be... I definitely feel like it's going to be like season 2 of Girls where they're all apart. I feel like that's where the show is going. But I kind of like that, actually. I mean, Tina's main character, we're going to see her living with Larry. We're going to see how it's going with Larry. We're going to see Alex in this movie. But the thing with Girls that works so well in season 2 is that you saw each of their individual storylines. It worked really well. And the thing about Girls is their dynamic overall. Togetherness doesn't have a lot of that, so it really doesn't bother me that they're separated because it's been like that all season. So With girls that didn't work because they're separated and you're close, you're used to them being all together, and you don't really like their changes. But this show's called Togetherness, as I said, because it's about the togetherness of family and how together they all feel. So overall, guys, if I had to grade the season of Togetherness, definitely I would give this season an A minus, by far an A minus. Besides that one episode, I absolutely love this show. This is definitely probably HBO's my favorite HBO comedy. I have to say, I think it's better than Silicon Valley. I really do. I think this show has really done a lot for HBO. I think it's been a very successful show. I didn't even know too much about the show when I initially watched it, and it just got better and better as it went on. I absolutely love the first season of Togetherness, and I can't wait for next season. But that's basically my review of the first season Togetherness. Let me know what you guys thought of this show if you have seen it. Did you like it? Was it a welcome? Did you like? Was it good to be after Girls? I think it was a perfect thing actually for it to be after Girls, because it was better than Girls, and Girls is very successful, and Togetherness I think is going to be just as popular because it's very popular, and it had a season 2 very quickly. I believe it was like after episode 3 when it went on hiatus. Then it got a season 2, which was awesome because it definitely deserved it. But that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoy it. I'll see you guys in my next video, which will be my review for tonight's episode of Shameless. So I will see you guys for that. Okay, bye.